arrived in Lithuania's capital, Vilnius. Took a flight from London Stansted last night. Had a beautiful takeoff actually. Saw the sun setting just before we took off, and as we climbed out of the airport, saw the sun setting again. Landed here in Vilnius about 20 past midnight. Got to the hotel about 1, and I'm now standing here in Town Hall Square, about to take a walking tour of the old town. So in approximately 2001-2002, Lithuania joined NATO, and that prompted a visit by the US President George W. Bush in 2002, where he stood here in the town hall and he said, anyone who would choose Lithuania as an enemy has also made an enemy of the United States of America. So here we go, this is the town hall, starting point of the tour, and also where George W. Bush made that speech. So this is a very unique street. Area on my left was built during the Nazi period, during World War II, and everything on the right of the street was built during the Soviet period after World War II. Two very distinctive styles. There used to be houses apparently in the middle here. These used to be two very narrow streets with houses in the middle both sides. So the German side is very distinctively westernized. All the buildings are different architecture, different colours, different shapes. Whereas on the Soviet side, it's really just one long building. So this is the former Jewish district of the city. During 1940 to 44, the Nazi occupation here, 95% of the Jews were either killed, taken to forests outside of the city and shot, or left to go and live in countries where they wouldn't be persecuted. This building here on the left, which was previously a kindergarten a couple of years ago, was the site before World War II of a Jewish temple. Now, even though the synagogue no longer stands there, the foundations and the underground areas still exist, so I think there's plans to open them back up again and excavate them and try to make some kind of memorial there. Now heading into a little courtyard. Apparently the most popular sport in Lithuania is basketball. Lithuania are ranked 6th in the world. This church was abandoned during Soviet times and used as a vegetable store. These days you may be able to see some antennas on the top. It's rented by a phone company to spread mobile signal throughout the city. So across this bridge is the Republic of Užupis. Doesn't have any legal standing. They have their own parliament. It's over there in that bar. It's called their parliament, apparently. Every year here in the Republic they celebrate their Independence Day. It's 1st of April, as you'd expect. So on the wall here is the constitution of this little republic, transcribed into 29 different languages. Now there's two churches here, one in the foreground, one in the background. The one in the foreground is a Gothic brick style church, fairly typical of Eastern European countries. In Western Europe they're built mostly with stone, but here with brick. And the one in the foreground was built with 33 different types of brick. or different shapes of brick, I should say. The one in the background, burned down a few times. You can see it's got a different style in the upper half of the church as it has in the lower half, and that's because of the fires that took place there. We're now heading towards Literature Street. That sign, the yellow sign with the tank, the car and the bike, is based on a story that happened here a few years ago where the mayor was sick of cars parking on bicycle lanes, so he got a tank and drove down the bicycle lane, crushing a few cars. The video's on YouTube apparently. Unbelievable. This is the Wall of Literature. It's basically a shrine to people that have a connection in literature with Lithuania. Here's one example. This is a little plaque to Thomas Harris, who wrote Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter in the novel was Lithuanian, so there's the connection there. Guide just gave us a little bit of information on Lithuania as a country. It has been around since the 13th century. It was in a commonwealth with Poland during some of that time, but also invaded and occupied by Russia as well, leading up to World War I, in which it declared independence and regained its independence, I should say, in 1918. It stayed that way until World War II, where it was invaded by Russia, then the Nazis, and then Russia again in the space of about 5 years, leading on to the Soviet Union. But going through the Soviet Union years, the country of Lithuania was the first to declare independence in 1990. This is Vilnius Cathedral. There's the bell tower on the left of the shot, and the main cathedral there on the right. There's also a few towers and monuments up on the hill behind it. So the tour has just ended here at the cathedral. Time to go and get some lunch and head to the second tour of the day. Right, so I'm back at the town hall. This is where I started the first tour this morning. I'm about to take a second tour now. This one's an alternate tour, so rather than focusing on the old town, this focuses on the areas that tourists don't usually visit. Should be good. Okay, so this is one of the city gates. We're now heading outside the old town to the newer part of the city. So the tour has just ended at this giant egg in the middle of the square. Now we're going to head back towards the cathedral, that way. Sun is just setting, so I'm going to take a walk along the river back towards the cathedral and just see what there is down there by the riverbanks. There's lots of rowers out there. that's about it. It's 9 o'clock. It's been a good day, so I'm going to head back to the hotel, walk through the old town, and I've got a few bits planned for tomorrow, including a Soviet walking tour, learning a little bit more about the Soviet years here in Vilnius. And then I'm gonna also try and climb towards that tower that's behind me with the crane. And there's also something called the Three Crosses, which is way up on the hill as well. So that's the plan for tomorrow.